Hello, people. Thanks for coming. Let's wait for people. And Mike's having issues with Safari, so he's trying to download another browser to start. Thanks, everybody, for waiting. Let's see. Dustin, how are you? Then in Phoenix, Evgeny, Morning Glory, and other people, Joseph Kavanaugh. Thanks everybody for coming. So we wanted to discuss the topic of ancient giant trees because there's another theory that is actually promoting that not everything is not what's happening actually, and probably somebody was cutting the trees before. So and we see a bunch of those so-called table mountains and mountains with the so-called hexagonal structures. And my cat is crazy, waiting for Mike to join too. Let's see. I have a little article about silicon-based life. And it was an early speculation of that was in 1891. It was a German astrophysicist. He's always astrophysicist. Well, let's speculate too much. Julius Scheiner became perhaps the first person to speculate on the suitability of silicon as basis for life. And this idea was taken up by the British chemist James Emerson Reynolds in the late 19th century, of course, who in 1893, in his opening address to the British Association for the Advancement of Science, pointed out that the heat stability of silicon compounds might allow life to exist at very high temperatures. And in 1894 article, he was, drawing on those ideas, and also Herbert Wells wrote, one in startled towards fantastic imaginings by such a suggestion, visions of silicon aluminum organisms, why not silicon aluminum men at once, wandering through an atmosphere of gaseous sulfur, let us say, by the shores of the sea of liquid iron some 1,000 degrees or so above the temperature of a blast furnace. So this idea was not only speculations. Hi, Stellium7. Hi, Arjun. Yeah, so Herbert Wells was not only, by the way, he was not only the science fiction author, he was like a Klaus Schwab. He was writing about the future lives in his late 30s and 40s. He started to work in sociology and politics, and he was the brain of the globalism and all this, the idea of the future emerging of societies. And so that is quite interesting that he was a biologist he specified in biology, and so very interesting. As what Stellium7 does research the biology of possible biology of gigantic creatures, so-called titans, giant elephants, and whoever may have existed. By the way, there's a research by, if you knew, by Roger Spur, who is also doing a bunch of videos on ancient life, and probably shows a bunch of examples which could be plausible. Although some questions are still in discussion, something is still on stake, and we should be waiting for Mike to join. And I would like to maybe share a little screen. Let's see. Share screen. That is his channel. If you can see. So the link is in the description. As you guys can see, he has some videos, like around 30 videos here, starting with the original Forest and Flat Earth Part 1. And so he is looking for evidence of decomposed trees and petrified trees, and trying to compare, and the shape is really the same. Looks like it's kind of similar structure. And so he's downloading his new browser, probably explain some stuff on that. Maybe you guys have some questions for me before he joins. As you know, I've been interviewing the guy who originally made a video in English about ancient giant trees, and the video was called "There Are No Trees on Flat Earth" or something. And so we talked to David. His name is David, and maybe made a couple of Skype calls and discussed a bunch of things back then. And so he was into silicon-based life. So I don't know what is the biology that Mike is supposed to present us. What is because silicon is not very good example. Actually, you cannot prove it scientifically, because silicon is very bad in absorption, so it's not equals organic life. It doesn't equal organic life, but some other silicon base structures, as what the Herbert Wells was supposed. Maybe they have something to say about that, maybe, but who knows? Actually, there's no scientific explanation for silicon-based life yet. So if we see something like basalt mountains or something like that, which have similar to cellular structures of the trees and plants and fruit, mushrooms, I don't know, bamboo, everything has this structure, is what they say. It has type of hexagonal structure, but basalt columns don't have hexagonal structure throughout. They have like 5 pentagons, hexagons, septagons. So I mean, maybe 50% of them is hexagon, the rest is just various random shapes. And so of course it's easy to understand that perhaps decomposing of silicon-based organism can create a bunch of sand or something, and maybe you can find sands everywhere, but who actually knows what this sand is composed of? So you have to take the probes each and every time you have to prove some biology in this or that case. And I wonder if Mike has done any research on that. He's writing me something. Well, it's insane that we have so much deserts on Earth. Was always suspicious about that. Yeah, perhaps. Also, there was a video I made, maybe one of the first videos, about deserts in Antarctica, so which are not covered by snow. So, by the way, very interesting case. And a bunch of deserts, of course, look like they just spoiled byproducts of something, maybe mining or maybe huge flooding or something, and look like everything looks like It was just flowing in some certain direction, like we see in the if you zoom in Google Earth, you see a bunch of those flows. And of course, you find something like a tree root system, which is, as we discussed with Mike Ferreira, look like electric discharge structures and could be mined before. And very interesting, because the tree root system, have also some similar shape, could have some similar shape, and so on. But if the tree system is so widely spread, just imagine how deep it would be. Also, we cannot say that for sure. We see the root system which is mined, because people say that those trees were cut, and so some of them were probably mined because they were petrified, gems and gold or whatever. And so this is very interesting to understand, because if they were mined, they also has to be mined down there. So a bunch of those channels and tunnels should be visible also, along with those tree root systems that were mined. Hangman's has the best footage on gigantic trees I've seen. Yeah, we will check more on his channel when he joins. Let's see. Let's come back. I like this one because he's representing the structure similar to modern day trees, and they look like a petrified copy of what he's shown. So this is the partial oxidation and maybe weathering of the tree, decomposing of the tree, and natural tunnels from the trees cause passages in which sap would flow. But tunnels always collapse, so we might not find all the tunnels, but you have to have something similar. Maybe if those who were scanning for pressure metals and stuff like this, what they do actually right now is they have the technology of scanning the surface, and perhaps there is what they're looking for. They're looking for this natural native formations of precious stones and metals and so on. Oh, Mike is here. Let's see. Let's wait for him to. Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, look, yeah. I know I just got on. Can you just give me 2 minutes? There's a snake outside my door, and the dogs are going crazy, man.
Okay.
You just give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
I just gotta go get rid of it. Hold on. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, it's always something when you try to connect a person the first time. It's always something messed up. So, what do you say? I'm just saying to the people. I'm just saying to the.
Well, I know. Yeah. All right, let me grab it. Hold on.
Okay. Let's see. We guys, let's see what's in the chat. Serpents always causing problems. Yeah, I don't have serpents. I have cats. They're just big pain in the butt. Always wants some to eat. never let me sleep in the morning. How is your guys' impression of this silicon life theory? Write me in the chat. Do you believe it could have existed? Because Russian scientists prove that silicon cannot be absorbed by the living organic tissue, and so it has to accommodate there for like centuries to absorb. So, and therefore, if there were silicon-based life trees, so probably they are supposed to have something silicon-based life or organic, animals or whatever, insects and so on. So the scientists said that silicon just cannot, be absorbed in a short period. It has to be absorbed and accommodated for a very long period, and which just, is very hard to believe. Oh, real.
I was trying to download Firefox and yeah, it's about 4 foot long. I got these snake grabbers all around the property. Anyway, let my wife take care of this.
Okay. Yeah, very nice. When I was in Wyoming, I was laying and watching TV. There was like a carpet or something, like a hairy carpet, and like everybody was like sitting and laying and watching TV, and I just said, somebody said, "Phil, you got Scorpio on your back." I said, don't kid me. And then he's like picked it up and showed it to me, like to the face, and I said, wow. And like, yeah, a bunch of snakes, a bunch of elks, a bunch of deers just come into a house, and even wolves are visible. So wildlife in America is, still present. And I was kind of surprised because, I always saw it in Siberia, but never thought that they had such wildlife near their houses, actually.
Man.
Yeah.
Just gotta close some of these boxes out here.
We got around 100 people already in the chat, waiting for you to.
Okay. I'm ready.
Gosh. Yeah. So my first question is actually, I've just started to show some of your footage from your channel. Let me just, screen share.
Okay.
Biblical Remains, part 29, pieces and parts. Do you see it that I'm showing? So
yeah.
My question is, because I've started to talk about silicon-based life, and because first videos that were made on ancient giant trees were proposing the theory that the life was based on silicon. And so my question to you is, what did you find in your research?
Well, this has been going on about 6 years, and I'm not really familiar with the silicon and carbon-based. I've kind of backed off quite a bit from, I guess you would call my research. I was mainly focused on going out and documenting everything, and over the, I don't know, past 5-6 years, when I started this, I've really come a long way with I don't like to use the word evolve, but kind of, evolve into my understanding, and my eyes got sharper, and I was able to put so many things together. And that's really all I can say about that. It's truly incredible that these, like that piece you just seen, that small little piece is just a tiny, tiny piece, like the one you see on the screen, of a branch that was hundreds or thousands of feet across, just a branch.
So you didn't research actually the silicon. You haven't, read about it. So what they're saying is actually they were saying about hexagonal structure inside the trees, and so
Right.
primarily they were showing the examples such as Devil's Mountain, and other
Yeah.
basalt things.
I am a little bit familiar with that. I did a video on, and I don't like to, I mean, if a person were to watch my videos, they'll understand what my comment is here. I don't really like to assume or speculate. I went through great lengths, the mental and physical stress, to make sure that no matter who is watching these on whatever level they're at, that it's very self-explanatory, that it wasn't an opinion, a thought, a belief, that what they're seeing, there's no doubt, it doesn't leave any room for question. Like with the hexagonal columns, I got a video on it, and if I mean, this is just so large, it's so hard to explain because there's so much to it. That's why there's so many videos that are lengthy, because there's so much to it. And it's my belief that, you spoke about the Devil's Tower, that I'm sure a lot of people have watched the video from long ago, No Forest on Flat Earth, which was a really good video. But from my research and what I've seen is that, like, you have a center core in a tree. We'll just use a tree for example, because there were also plants, bushes, shrubs, vegetation, and even tropical. But just talking about a tree, there's like a center core, and I'm going to do a video on it. And then like the rings will start, and that's not all trees, but a lot of them. And it's my belief, I visited the Devil's Tower just for this purpose. And after looking at it, like going back behind on, I guess it would be maybe the west side, the side coming in, you see a lot of the characteristics that you see, like if you look at like the petrified forests and stuff, the smooth mountains that don't have, like, they just look like smooth. You can see all the same characteristics that are like part of the root system that came down. And you see that there, but I believe that what you see there on the remaining hexagonal columns is like the center core of the tree. And if you look at it from all kinds of different angles, especially if you go there and see it in person, there's a much larger base around it. I believe most of that tree has fallen away or has been stripped or whatever, I don't know. And what's remaining is like the center core. And I got a video on that shows what I'm talking about. But like I say, this is, I mean, I don't want to say it time and time again, but the videos are very detailed, very self-explanatory. But my last one, I'm a native Colorado, and I moved from Colorado to Southeast Texas. Before I did that, I made a special trip to make one last long, extensive video after all the knowledge and experience that I gained over the past 5 years. And it's very detailed, very good. It's about 8.5 hours. And I understand for most people, that's really a long time. But if people really want to see the truth with their own eyes, that's undeniable, I would suggest part 26, which is the longer one. They will see that, some of these things I'm saying here sound absolutely ridiculous. I get it, but But like gold and silver, uranium, I believe they're all, I mean, I don't believe it. I really feel I know that that they all are the properties of these giant trees. And I show this with, I mean, it's really undeniable. And you look at like almost any quarry. I mean, once you watch, you got to watch the video first. And once you watch the video, you look at any quarry or gold and silver mining, and it's literally like it's either within the tree remains, or it's like the going into the belly of a giant tree. And just for one really quick example, so I've been acquainted with gold and silver mines for quite some time, long time, many years. And I got a really good friend up in Central City, Colorado. And that's really a well-known place back in the late 1800s, early 1900s for gold rush. Like, I'll think of the name. Can't think of the little town, but they call it the richest square mile on earth. So it's a very productive gold and silver mine. And I asked this guy many, many times. I've known him for years. He's an old Vietnam vet guy. And I kept telling him, I says, look, all this is just tree. It's like going into your gold mine, your silver mine. It's like walking into the belly of a tree. And he says, well, kinda, but he would never just come forthright with information. And one day they had a film crew in there. Some small outfit was filming like a horror scene inside the mine. And I was kind of standing off to the side, and one of the director ladies inquired about the gases in the mine. And he says, you really don't got to worry about it here, because you really only got to worry about it in the coal mines because of the methane. But he says, here you don't got to really worry about it because it's all timber. And so, that was kind of an interesting comment to hear, kind of, an earshot. But it's truly amazing. I mean, for most people,
right?
Go ahead. Central City, Colorado, up by Black Hawk. That's a gold mining town, and they got all the casinos and stuff up there. They have a river coming down. You got to go up through Golden, Colorado, and as you come off I-70 going through Denver onto a little stretch of Highway 58 into Golden, you see all the big plateaus, and it's really cool. Because if you read like Ezekiel 31, it talks about these giant rivers that fed these trees. And a lot of people consider that a metaphor, but it's not. It's literal. And you see the Clear Creek. It's a canyon that comes down out of Central City and Black Hawk, and then it comes down, and you see all these massive plateaus. Some are 3 or 4 miles across, but I've done videos on them also, and they are 100%. There's no disputing it. Remains of a massive giant tree that was 4 miles across on this particular one. And then you see other smaller trees. And when you read Ezekiel 31, it talks about how all the other trees in the Garden of God, all the other trees in the Garden of Eden that were in the Garden of God couldn't rival a Syrian, which was just this massive tree that said to have the branches shadowed entire nations. And then when it was destroyed, all the branches fell upon all the lands, all the hills, all the valleys, and all the ravines. And then when you really open your eyes and you can see this, you see whether you go up to like Morrison, Colorado, where Red Rocks is. Most people are familiar with Red Rocks as an amphitheater. Or like the Garden of the Gods, Manitou Springs, Boulder, Colorado, where the Flatirons are. All of them are remains of giant cedars. They always have like the reddish tint in it. And it's really undeniable. But, it's just, this has been such a massive project. And when I say that there was like a divine intervention behind it, I mean, that's really, speaking lightly, because it was incredible how like I would just kind of leave the house randomly, and I needed to find this or that, and I would just like end up in a place and find the exact thing I needed to see. It was like I was being led by the Holy Spirit, and just so your viewers know, that my stance is I believe in Scripture. Okay, I believe in the Bible, just from what I've seen and the things that have occurred in my life. But it's kind of crazy, because the Bible says, you're supposed to live by faith, not by sight. But I think these videos here, by having some sight other than just faith and some words in a book, will really change some minds on the truth of the matter.
Okay. The worst, the critics have a bunch of questions to this theory of gigantic biology by organic creatures and so on. So everybody's asking me, who was feeding, what was the feeding base of such huge giants and so on, if trees cannot live without animals and insects. So it's probably they had all this biology, organics that surrounded them, and all those insects probably, or something. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, I believe there were, like I say, I don't go outside of Scripture. The Bible talks, so it's my understanding that like Titans is like Greek mythology. And I think it's just my understanding that the fallen, the angels, is what some people are calling Titans. I mean, that's just my connection to it, what I feel. But then again, it says, like in Samuel, that they were all bound in chains until the great day of judgment. So, you can take that for what you want, I guess.
Okay. My question to you is, so you haven't done any biological tests yet of those rocks that you suppose look like those decomposed tree trunks and so on?
Well, it's really not necessary whatsoever. I mean,
because the rocks are different. Maybe some rocks could be and could be petrified trees.
Well, everything in my videos, like I say, I only did the videos on what I know for fact. You know what I mean? Anything outside of that, I was strictly concentrated on the trees. And it's my belief that, people got to understand this world system, that everything is a lie and a deception, just about. And when people like use worldly, but people who are into Scripture and believe in the Bible, they'll understand this more. But anything, when it comes, everything has been changed. I know you get into like the megalithic structures, ancient technology, and stuff like that. Everything you read in the history books and all the literature and science, I don't trust any of it. When it comes to carbon dating, I believe that's just a tool for the world to set timelines for their evolution and Big Bang. That's what I think it is. I never refer to any worldly knowledge coming from basically doctrines of men, because it's mostly a lie, if not all of it. And that's, like I said, that's just my opinion.
There's a bunch of questions to the science, of course, and so I wanted to ask you, if you said you're familiar with mining, have you seen any videos about hydraulic mining methods and all those mining terracones, cones, how they form the mountains and so on, volcanoes
I'm a
that
little
could
bit
be
familiar. I'm a little bit familiar with it, not a whole lot. I'm familiar with tailing piles that were left over from probably, at least in my area where I'm from and my stomping grounds, so to speak. There are tailing piles everywhere, and there's still quite a bit of gold in them. But if you look at where they're doing the quarries, it's all just from the tree remains. The quartz of all different colors is the petrified sap that was in these trees, and 99% of the time, gold and quartz always run together. And I know these are crazy claims, but I'm telling you, if a person were to watch, say, for example, part 26, the final chapter, they would have no doubt whatsoever, zero. But they got to watch it. That's the only way they're going to get the information. I've spent so much time doing these so people can see it with their own eyes, and there'll be no doubt, not even for the biggest critic.
Yeah. Okay. Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yes, I can see it.
That's the Los Organos Rock, Canarian Islands. Also basalt, so-called basalt structure. In comparison to Devil's Mountain, it doesn't have this tree trunk or even core of the tree trunk shape. It's really rather random. But anyways,
right.
It has this inside structure with basalt. By the way, we had a discussion on ancient technology of stone melting, and so the composition that comes after melting looks similar to these basalt structures, and it's kind of even polished and looks exactly like basalt. So they even call it basalt technology because it's similar to what's natural basalt looks like. And what I like about those pictures is that not all of them have this hexagonal structure, but some of them just have this vertical and horizontal.
Well, like that right there.
Yeah, like this
that
one.
That right there is definitely the remains of a tree.
Yeah.
But like I say, and I'm going to try not to say this again after this time. I have many videos, and there's a lot of like kind things in all of them, but each one of them, whether I cover many different things, and they're extremely detailed. And people that, like, if they watch this live stream here, they'll go watch one particular video that's later on in the series, and they'll ask all these questions, and it's really hard to answer them because it's just the answer would be too big. That's why I've put so much time into these, and if they watch them, they'll have no doubt whatsoever. I mean, zero doubt, none. But they just got to watch the video. Or
which
the
one?
videos,
26?
More than one.
26?
Part. Yeah, that kind of covers. It doesn't cover everything, but it covers a great deal of it to show the remains of the giant trees, how they break down, the rings. I mean, I got like on my Devil's Tower video, I got a tree stump, that looks identical to this. How it breaks down, and I don't know. Am I able to share a picture?
Yeah, if
Share.
you
Is that
press
on the bottom?
share, yeah,
Video file. Share. Let me see. I don't want to.
yeah, share screen. Then some screen pops up. You have to press the picture, and then okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I would like to go just to my pictures. I don't know if I'd be able to show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is like in my.
You have to press a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, yeah. This is on my downloads to like my iMovie. It's not like on my like down on the bottom. It has like my little icon for pictures where I can pull up all my pictures. Yeah, I'm not sure. This is all new to me, so.
Share screen.
If I could get to my picture.
Then the whole screen. Press the icon of the whole screen and then share.
Press screen. Screen sharing works best on a good computer. Screen sharing, the easiest 2 monitors. Share screen.
Whole screen.
To window or screen. Let me see.
Whole screen.
Entire screen. Okay.
Entire screen.
Yeah, I got entire screen. Allow.
You have to click on that image. Yeah, I see you. We see just just show the pictures.
Well, I don't see any of my pictures.
You have to minimize that browser and show your pictures.
Okay.
Yep, we see your whole screen.
Hold on, there's my photos.
Yep.
Let me. Oh my gosh, man. Let me get it. See when.
Yep. You see everything.
Are you able to see? You see in my picture? Oh, okay. All right. I see it. Hold on. Let me. I don't know how far down it is. See, so this is right here. This is just like let me see. I'm gonna try to small that in there. Do you have like a whole bunch of boxes?
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of boxes because you have to minimize that,
So if I click on this, okay, so this is just an example, just one. So so this is just 2 different pieces. It's all actually one piece, but you see the different rings here, okay? And we're not like talking about looking down at a stump. You got to look at it like in a 3 or 4D deal. But and then over here you see what things look like when they're busted up, okay? And then what all these little pieces are, they're part of the rings. All these little pieces you see laying around. But anyway, let me get to the one on the Devil's Tower. See, this is cedar right here. All this is cedar. All that's remains of cedar trees.
Can you enlarge it a little bit?
Yeah, they always have this orangish. Oh, hold on. Then I won't be able to. Okay.
Yeah, we see everything. Yeah.
Okay.
This is you say it's cedar?
Cedar. Yes, cedar tree.
Okay.
You know what's kind of amazing too is let me see here. So you see this here. Okay. See that there?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the same thing. This is all part of a cedar tree, and it's the same thing. Okay. It's just, let me see here. Just got to find that stump. Man, I'll tell you, when I was doing my videos, I had, see, so this here, I've seen people talk about how this is muscle or whatever. If you look up here, let me enlarge it. If you look up here, this is all just part of the cedar tree, okay? And this is all just where the wind and rain has formed this. And you see up here, this is all part of a cedar tree. Good.
Okay.
All you go to Angel's Landing in Utah, okay? The whole thing, see, like all this here, this is all part of the root system that was in these trees. But you go to Angel's Landing, and all that is part of the remains of a giant cedar tree. Let me get this. All of that. And when you're looking at tree rings, they're not always going to be, very rarely are they all just the same size. And you got to understand, in my, like I said, I go off scripture. So this is weather from 4,000 years. This is all tree rings. All this is part of the tree rings. And if you just hold on 1 second, I'm going to grab a piece of wood, okay? So hold on one second.
They focus on theoretical because they have a vested interest in ignoring the empirical. Yeah, guys, today is just the first video. Maybe we'll do some more. And so just the introduction video about the topic, because, you know, Mike has done, as he says, 8-hour videos and so on, explaining everything. So we should watch more of that information and be prepared more for the next time and ask him more direct question. Yeah.
Okay, so you see all this here, like this feathering kind of.
Yep.
Okay, you'll see that everywhere. Okay, so are you able to see my camera? Oh wait.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well you can see this, but see this feathering here? How the rings?
Yeah.
It's like it's staggered. Okay, it's the same exact thing, but on a massive scale. And you can look at rings like this. That could be upright. It could be at a 45. But rings are not always.
Yeah, I see it.
But we're talking rings that were. Okay, so that there is the same exact deal. Let me see. Okay, this is at Angel's Landing in Utah. And this is all part of cedars. Let me see. All of this. And you see here, all this is part of a cedar tree. And it's, here, hold on, let me find that. I don't want to lose track on that Devil's Tower deal. You know, and when I was doing these videos, I literally had thousands and thousands of pictures. And man, days and days and days and weeks and months of video and trying to go into my pictures and find the right one I needed. Man, you talk about killing some brain cells, man. It was, but I'll tell you, it was, I couldn't have done this on my own. And I go through great detail showing, I just did a video. I released it yesterday on some petrified bone and a piece of the sap from a modern day cedar tree. But all this, I mean, the videos are so detailed. There won't be any, they just cannot be denied. I mean, regardless. Now, if I'd have known this. This is not it, but we'll just go here. I'll tell you, man, these videos, I still watch them and they just absolutely blow my mind. I couldn't do it today. I just couldn't. It literally took a lot out of me, man. It's got to be coming up, man. What in the hell is it? Well, I do know it's in the video. I'll show you a cool piece here. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, so this is just a small piece, like I'm showing how, you know, the tree breaks apart. I mean, it's everywhere, and it's worldwide. And if you look at the comments, once people have the vision and watch the videos, they see it everywhere, and it is worldwide. But understanding how the tree breaks down is the most important part. Once you understand that, you'll see it. It's kind of like you know how they have like them funny pictures where you could see there's two pictures in one picture. Like one, for example, there's an old woman and a pretty woman. You blink your eyes, and it switches to the other one. That's kind of like what happens. It's like you're looking at it, and once you see it, it flips, and you can't unsee it. You can't really see what you used to see before.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There was a psychological experiment in Soviet Union where people haven't seen something and they were shown that and they couldn't even distinguish it on the table. So if you saw something and you understand how the picture is actually looking like, you'll be watching that and trying to track the same image everywhere. So this is how it works, actually, how the brain works.
When I was talking about like the center core, like about the Devil's Tower, this is kind of like what I'm talking about. There's like a center core, and I believe that's what's remaining. And all this outer part has been quarried, mined. I'm just not sure, but the tree was so much larger that here, like right here, perfect. So similar to this right here. This is what's remaining, and the rest of the tree is.
What is it? Is
gone.
it a tree or is it a bamboo or something?
This is, I believe it's a tree. Where, let me see this picture here. So this is like, I believe, just the center core, and this tree was, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it's the whole outside, and when you're there, you can see it. Kind of like I live on 30 acres here, and like around the cedar trees, you see this big like hump. But I mean, not cedar trees, but the pine trees. Where I got to be getting close because all that stuff's right there. See it? You could go anywhere. Like this here is, it's just a piece that's laying there. It's everywhere. This thing is probably 15, 20 foot across, but it's just part of a tree, and everything else around everywhere. And then when you understand how the tree breaks down, like see the way they split right here. Where in the heck is that piece, man? Yeah, right. Yeah, it won't. Don't surprise me. It's seeing for your. Let me find a better piece. Yeah, it's just it's too big to even show. I show the bark on a lot of these trees. This whole section right here of like the yellowish, I use this as an example of another fallen tree. Well, I don't know where in the hell it's at, man. There's so many pictures. I would think it would have been. But if you go out and you look at what's like wood laying on the ground or old broken stumps, it's all the same. Well, all I can say is, if you go watch the video or just look at what I'm talking about, the way the columns are, and then you understand how the tree breaks down horizontally also. It's just so hard to explain. Right, they break apart both ways when they break down. Let's see.
Well, I understand your idea about.
So when you see,
yeah,
you see this right here. So this is like what a lot of the mesas are. Let me even like right here. Okay, if you look at that, can you see that picture?
Yeah.
But then, like here's a pretty good shot. So I'll show you how that does that. Let me actually down below, but I was hoping. See, and like when you go into the gold mine, when you understand how the tree breaks down, you'll see that this is all petrified wood. It's stone, but it's petrified wood. Yeah, that might help me. So I just showed you that. So this is kind of something similar to how they break down. This is on a small scale. You see that?
Yep.
But this has, it's not petrified and it hasn't been weathered and rounded and smoothed and things like that. And there's just so many different ways that the trees break down. And most of the time, most all the time, they'll always have a flat edge and ledges and stuff like that. And you know, like I say, the videos are extremely. So here, let me show you this one here. So this is at far off, okay? I showed you that one I said was like 15 feet across. So this here is part of a branch, part of a tree, okay? And you got to understand how the tree breaks down and the rings here. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Okay. Oops. Get out of the way. Okay, this is all just part. This is all petrified wood. It's stone. Let me see. Figures I won't be able to find that dang picture. Oh wait. Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's in the video. Yeah, they're truly incredible, but we gotta watch more than one, and you can't watch just a couple minutes of it because it's so detailed. So this is kind of what I'm talking about, how the tree breaks down. Let me see here. Okay, and all these pieces always have a flat edge. And I walk through gaps like this in these giant branches. All these gaps you see, the bigger the tree, the bigger the branch, the bigger the gap's going to be. And then this piece right here could be as large as a 5-story apartment building or as large as a full-size truck. And then they just keep breaking down. Whether, you know, this could be standing upright at a 45, and then you see all these pieces on the below it. Okay, and then the flood distributed all these little pieces. Let me see where I'm at here. So, like this here. So, all them little pieces come off from the main tree like this, okay? And they always have different ledges, and you know, and you can still see the rings in it. Okay, hold on. And then these are all the pieces you're seeing like that. This thing's massive. This is a small one, and that right there is just like one of these pieces right here that came from shit. See right here, this is just, see that there? That is no different than this. Hold on. I mean, right here. This little piece right here is just a small piece compared to what it came off of. And then let me get back over here. Okay, one of these little pieces is equivalent to this. So you see how large this is. Can you imagine the branch or tree that this came off of? It's like so tiny compared to, and there's the gap I told you about. You know, you can walk through these gaps. They're everywhere. I mean, here's one of them gaps, but this is just, I mean, if you had the peripheral vision, so all this is just them pieces I told you about that were like laying below that log. you know, and see how high this is. So if you were to go this way, this used to be that high. All this is missing. This was part of a branch. This is so massive. But I'll tell you, this is truly life-changing. At least it was for me and many of my original subscribers when I first started this project. And it's worldwide. But it'll definitely sharpen people's eyes. And when they go to the mountains or national forest, or you know, you can go anywhere. I drive through Texas and flatland, and I see remains of these things everywhere. Your eyes will sharpen, and I mean, you'll literally feel like a child all over again. Uh-oh. If you're talking, I can't hear you.
Have you thought that? Yeah. Have you thought that this is not only coincidental evidence? It could be also just the general way everything decomposes.
Everything, as in,
like everything.
Other than like plants, trees, shrubs, bushes, vegetation. I don't know. You know, I'm sure you're familiar with. I mean, I don't watch too many channels because, just for different reasons. But just for example, say like, we'll just use Wise Up. You know, he's got a lot of cool photos on different monolithic and ancient structures, and I'm under the same belief as him that all that stuff was made out of wood at one time. And since he started watching my videos, he started a series called The Final Jigsaw, and they're actually really good. So
what I was trying to show at this, you know, the Devil's Tower, as you can see, it has like all these basalt lines going all the way, and this is what we have in my one of the places I live in the summer. It's called Geological, and we have this also structure looking like basalt, but it's not actually basalt, because I was checking it out. It's more like granite or something, but not basalt. It wasn't melted before. Even officials know it wasn't melted, so it looks like it's just, you know, petrified, something petrified, and it could be the tree, but the only thing is that it's all over the seashore. It's not just in one place. It's just the whole seashore looks this way, and those lines go all the way to the sea. You can even see them from above of that cliff. If you stand above on that cliff, you see those lines go all the way, you know, to the sea. So in the direction, in the depth.
Right.
And if you dive there, you also see those lines continue, and they, like, you know, going all the way. And so I saw many things like this, when you see different things, like on the top and the bottom, and you see all these vertical things, like what we saw on the Devil's Mountain in the middle. But it's not all the way also.
Yeah.
So many different things there
I mean,
are.
that could have been some type of plant, mushroom, you know, something of that, to where it had a cauliflower, you know, something similar to that, you know, different type of structure than just a tree.
The scale is enormous. It's just, you know, going for a couple of kilometers. I mean, it cannot be something like very small. So if that is the whole
Wow.
place looks like a gigantic quarry. All this Black Sea has quarrying levels of depth, and it's on the map, official map. They say it's like a step by step going down, and so perhaps that could be just a quarried tree stump. But the thing is that it's so gigantic that I don't know what was the side of the
Yeah.
tree then, because if the whole sea is
Well,
looking this way, and you show it like it is those tree circles, year circles, and so each of that thing reminds me what you showed.
there are, tree rings are not always straight. Whether you're in where a branch comes out, and I'm talking branches that were hundreds or thousands of feet across. You have all kinds of different knots and things. The way, I got so many pictures and it's hard to explain all this just like this. That's why there's so many videos and they're so long. They explain, show everything in great detail.
Have you heard about dendrochronology? Dendrochronology.
No.
It's what they use in science to when they find something in the mud, something in the archaeological site, they find something like a tree, and they compare the tree to the most ancient trees found in the same area, and try to establish the date when this or that year occurred, comparing the different rings on different trees and finding similarities in those tree rings growth, because if that was a warm year, the tree ring has a wider structure, more like more healthy structure. If that was a cold year, it has more thin ring. It doesn't grow that much as in a good year. So, and that was how they established the dendrochronology and so on. So I did suggest you to take a look at it, because it's correlating what you're saying about the tree rings. So my point is, if those tree rings are similar to dendrochronology methods that we have right now, what is the supposed date those trees were growing? What's the era? Thousands of years.
Tell you that. I believe that, like I say, I believe in what Scripture talks about. So I'm saying, 4,000 years ago.
So 2,000 years before Christ, right?
Right.
Okay.
Let me grab my book real quick.
Okay. There's a slight delay when we talk, because signal goes for a couple of seconds, so sometimes it's really hard to talk.
Okay. So, in regards to the trees, you were talking about how large they were, into the sea, and once people see the videos, they will be convinced. And then you go back and you read, like, just for example, you could read Daniel 4:11, you could read Ezekiel 31, literally, and you'll understand just how. And then when you look at the plateaus and mesas, it's just mind-boggling how massive what life was like back then. It's hard to even imagine. So when it's talking about Assyria, and it says it was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches, with a shadowing shroud and a high stature, and its top was among the thick boughs. The waters made him great. Okay, The deep set him up on high, with her rivers running around about his plants, and sent out her little rivers unto all the other trees of the field. Therefore his height was exalted of all the trees of the field, and his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long, because of the multitude of waters. When he shot forth, all the fowls of heaven made their nest in its boughs, and under the branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young, and under the shadow dwelt all great nations. And then it says, thus was he fair in his greatness, in the length of his branches, and his roots was by great waters. The cedars in the garden of God could not hide him. The fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnuts were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of God was like unto his beauty. I have made him fair in the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of God envied him. Therefore, because thou hast lifted thyself up in height, and he's talking about King Pharaoh. Let me see. It says, so when the tree was destroyed, it says, I have left him upon the, and the strangers of terrible of nations have cut him off, and have left him upon all the mountains and in all the valleys. So it's all, not some, all the valleys, and his branches are fallen, and his boughs are broken by all the rivers of the land, and all the people of the earth are gone down from his shadow and have left him.
What
Then
book is it?
It says that's the King James Bible.
Yeah, and you said
Ezekiel 30.
Ezekiel. What
Ezekiel
number?
31.
And Ezekiel 31. Okay, okay. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. He was talking about cedar
What?
also, right?
Assyrian was a giant cedar in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And
Strangers
you know, when I look at, I mean, I literally put my life on hold to do this. It was a 24/7 deal, and when I look around, I mean, I have done so much boots on the ground, so none of this is really of my opinion, my beliefs, my thoughts. Everything is there for anybody's eyes to see from what I say. And when I have looked around, all around this earth, there are cedar remains on such a massive scale everywhere. And then when it talks about how it said that the other trees that were in the Garden of Eden, that were in the Garden of God, envied him. They call him Assyrian. Envied him. They couldn't compare to him. These are all the other massive like plateaus and mesas and jagged. You know, you've seen them all. Them were the other trees. So
Okay,
if you look, I mean, what's really interesting is like Utah. Most of all that there is like, they're different mountains than like in say South Dakota or Colorado. You know, them are all like sandstone type stuff, and all that is like a different decomposition, but it's all remains of cedar trees, all of it, every single bit of it. And you know, for some people it may be difficult to understand my claims, but it won't if they, you know.
Well, I've been to Rocky Mountains. I've been
pretty
to
crazy.
Bighorn Mountains. I've been to Red Lodge Mountains in Montana. So I've seen a lot, but at that time I haven't seen what you're showing right now. So I mean, people, you should walk around your mountains and take a look if you see something similar, because that is quite plausible evidence, and I think we should take more time and research more of Mike's videos, because he says that everything is in the videos, and of course we should be researching it more and connecting one more time. Now I got general line what you were saying, because I haven't been thinking about the core, that all this Devil Mountain is just the core of the huge gigantic tree, and everything was collapsed or mined around it, and just this is just part that's left. Very plausible
Well, okay.
Evidence.
I'll tell you how I use that illustration of that picture with two pictures in a picture, where when you see one picture, you can't see the other one. And sometimes some people never see the other one. You got to blink 100 times and maybe it'll flip on you. But this is my second live stream, and I did one with Logic Before Authority. But before that, I had just maybe like 8,000 subscribers that were with me like from the beginning. And I would say almost every one of them that have watched the videos from the very beginning, the same thing happened to their eyes. Once they seen it, it flipped, and they're like, "Wow, man, this," they're just, you're seeing something that's right in front of your eyes. It's like the indoctrination from the world system. It's strong, the educational system and the indoctrinations. It's strong, man. It's like a spell, how they can grow you up, telling you this, and you just don't see what's like right in front of your eyes. And that's kind of the same with a lot of things. But once you see it, you can't unsee it, and you'll see it everywhere, and you'll have no doubts whatsoever. But you gotta see it first. You gotta understand how the tree breaks down, all the different ways. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll go to the mountains this summer, so probably check more of the same decomposure parts of the trees, similar structures. That is very interesting, because I haven't been taking a look at it, because I obviously before seeing your channel.
So you also understand that these trees are so large, and there's not just one type there, and you have different kind of grains and textures. So, I mean, this will really change people's lives for the better. And when they go out to the mountains, if they watch the videos, they'll see life and the world totally different. I mean, it's that much of a life changer. But when you understand how the trees break down, the different grains and textures, you see it everywhere. It's pretty amazing stuff. I mean, it's life changing. It's completely changed a lot of people's lives once they see it.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're interested in. Go ahead.
Just saying that people should, write me, send more videos about what they see in the mountains, because that is actually something to watch for this summer. This test, the homework test for everybody to take a look at it. And thanks everybody for joining today. Thanks Mike for making this hard broadcast possible. And everybody, check the link to his channel in the description. Subscribe to his channel, watch his videos, be more prepared, and probably will connect more with Mike maybe in September or October when I come back and get more advanced information on that topic. Go to the mountains and so on. So that would be nice to talk to you again, and therefore bring more specific questions. How about that?
That sounds good. But this one last time, they can't watch 10 minutes of a 2-hour video. You know what I mean? It's like you got to watch it all, because what you watch in the beginning may have relevance to the middle or the end, but it's life changing. That's all I can say. It will change their life. It's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, as I've said before, Mike Stellium7 sent me the link to your channel, and that's how I found you. And therefore, I trust him because he probably watched, as you can say, most of your videos, and probably watched it not like 2 minutes and watched it throughoutly. So probably believe him, and that's why I connected to you, and let everybody know that you doing such a great job in researching this ancient giant trees topic.
Well, yeah, if you just look at the comments, and and I don't do this for subscribers or likes or anything. You know what I mean? I don't do monetized. The whole goal was, like I say, it was a divine intervention. My whole goal was to show people the truth, and that's all I care about. I don't care if it changed one person, but if you look at the comments and what people are saying from around the world, and the like ratios, you'll see something's going on, and that people are really waking up.
Yeah. Thanks everybody again, and see you guys later. Bye.
Philip, thank you.